Welcome to the Conscious Radio Network. Become enlightened, have fun, and tell all your friends and family to share with everyone they know. You can watch us on YouTube and Rumble while following us on Facebook, or find us on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Our podcasts can be found on Libsyn, iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and more. Most of all, remember to go to our official website at consciousradionetwork.com for past episodes, future shows, and scheduling. We also want to welcome our international audience. Don't stop now. Enjoy the community. Subscribe or follow today.
This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Hello and welcome wherever you might be on this spaceship we call Earth. This is Conscious Radio Network's The Seance Podcast. If this is your first time, be sure to click subscribe, like, share, comment, and also don't forget to follow wherever you listen to your podcasts. Today, our guest is a licensed clinical social worker, a trauma therapist, animist, and a shadow work facilitator with over 20 years of experience guiding individuals through healing and personal transformation. Specializing in natural approaches, Laura integrates ancestral wisdom, sacred travel, and community building to help clients recover from trauma and grief. A near-death experiencer and advocate for holistic healing, she emphasizes the importance of community and connection in true well-being. Let's welcome to the seance, Laura Giles. Your microphone is back. How did that happen?
It's amazing.
Sometimes you have to have crystals in your studio. The stranger things have happened on this show, I tell you. Sometimes the spirits like to chime in and go, boo. How you doing, Laura?
I'm great. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. It's a Friday. So how does, looking at your bio and briefly going through it, this is, I tell you, we have more than one subject to cross paths on. There's more we could do in just more than one episode. We can't cover. There's so much stuff I'd like to cover, but I can't do it in just one episode. Which is like why I'd like to invite you back during our October series called True Ghost Stories.
Okay.
And that I try to keep a little spooky because of the Halloween holidays and stuff like that, and the Samhain, traditions and stuff like that. And I think people would enjoy that. So, and from some of your experiences, which we might be able to touch a little bit on today, especially when it comes to near death. Explain. Let's go back in time. Explain this experience you had with near death.
It was the craziest thing. So I was kind of sick, a little bit sick. I had bronchitis, came out of nowhere. I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, I just had to go. It just like felt all the energy drain me. And I went to lay down. And next thing you know, I was not here anymore. Couldn't breathe. I was kind of aware of my body, but that really not. And I was just in a different place. And it was pretty freaky, actually.
Yeah. Now, how did you get back? I mean, did you, hopefully, I would assume that there were some friends, family around you that kind of like,
no, I was by myself. And so I left the body, and it was, I just started seeing things. And really, one of the things that I say, and I said this even from my own personal experience, is that the language of spirit is symbolic. It's metaphorical. And that's the way that I work too. Mm-hmm. So everybody has their own experiences. I'm not saying what other people do is not real, but when things are like, oh, my grandmother said this, I'm like, I don't know if that's spirit. And what I got was totally not language, not anything like anything that I've ever heard anybody talk about a past life or a near-death experience being like. It wasn't linear, it wasn't people, it wasn't lights, it wasn't tunnels, it was none of that. But
Yeah.
it made total sense to me. It was like it was speaking to me on a completely different level, like a non-human level maybe. And it was all symbolic, and the meaning that I got from the first thing was that, time just goes on and life goes on like a wheel, and you can stay on it as long as you want to stay on it. It can be infinite if you want. And then when I was kind of looking at this thing and going, this is kind of boring. And then as soon as I had that thought, I was gone and I was in a different place. And then this. I've never said this out loud before, but and I don't know what people are going to think of it, but it is what it is. Then I was with Jesus. I was at the crucifixion. I was watching the whole thing, saw the whole thing, both as a spectator and as Jesus.
Wow.
And it wasn't anything like the story that we were told. It was again there was a language that wasn't verbal that I got. Nobody said anything. There were no words, but I understood what that story was all about. It's not what we think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I left that and it was instantaneous. And then I went to a different place, which was, we don't have words for this thing.
Yeah.
I can't even say that it was a place. It was a state of being. It was something. It was, I don't think it was a return to source, but it was like one step away from that. And then from that space, it was like everything that we do as humans is so stupid, so small. And it's like, okay, you're this amazing creative energy, and that's what you want to spend your life doing? It just made no sense to me. And then at that moment, I knew that I had a choice. I could go back to that or I could not. And it seemed like the stupidest thing in the world to go back.
Yeah.
It's like, I think ants are beautiful, but it's like, what would you choose to be an ant in your ant life when you could be a human and have so much complexity and so much more everything? And really the answer was no. But here in my vanity, I said, I don't want my dead body to be found that way.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I had that thought, I went back and I was back in my body. My body was ice cold. It was cold like from the inside. It was colder than any cold I've ever felt. And I was thinking to myself, you've got to breathe. And it was like I couldn't even get any air. There was not enough air to go into my body. And I knew that I needed this oxygen in order to function. And I had to for like 3 days, I had to keep thinking about breathing. It's like I didn't know how to do it anymore. But as soon as I came out of it, I didn't have bronchitis anymore.
Oh, wow.
It was totally crazy. It was the craziest thing I've ever experienced.
That is, yeah. I can relate to that, all of it. Especially going back and like you said, spirit. Sometimes when they give you messages, it can be quite cryptic. You'd be like, what the heck? When you look at it in general terms, symbolism and how these messages are delivered to us and us recognizing it. Yeah. When you give that to somebody else, they're like, what the heck does that mean? Yes, they can be very, very cryptic. But then at the same time, you're like, I understand that. I know exactly what that means. It's so clear. It's a knowing. It's a claircognizance.
Yes.
About it that is awesome. It's like, now, life after death. I mean, this has been a topic since centuries, millennia. It's one of those topics that's taboo. It's one of those topics that nobody wants to talk about, especially at certain points of people's lives, especially when it comes down to family, especially when it comes to making preparations. But then we always seem to want to talk about it, in terms of just general discussion, like sitting around a campfire and talking about, ghosts and ghouls and stuff. What is your let me open up the discussion to what is your thought on reincarnation?
Oh, I believe that. So I do past life regression. That was the first thing I ever did professionally. And I don't know if we have past lives. Maybe it's just a sense of, metaphor,
Hmm.
a way to make sense of things. But some of the things that I've gotten either personally or through other people have been verifiable. So
Yeah.
data, dates, names, places. So I think that it's real as real can be. Yeah, I think that the energy doesn't die when we die, and it just continues on in another form until we figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much. That's the thing is like science right now is trying to it's always been trying to prove all kinds of things, but I feel we're getting at a precipice where quantum science is quantum mechanics, quantum science, everything. It's getting close to explain so many things at the quantum level. The
I don't know if
existence
you
of
heard
the
about
soul.
this study in Russia where they identified the energy of a person,
Mm,
and then at the point of death, they followed where that energy went, and it's to the ends of the galaxy. I don't know how they're
yeah.
verifying that, but I think
How,
that's
that's interesting. Yeah, how did they measure that? We don't know even know where that's at. Like, at least uh, so we think. But I do remember they did measure the weight of the soul.
Mhm.
That it's like less than one, like 0.01 gram or something like that. It's
Yeah,
weird.
I heard about that too.
Yeah, it's like well, that's cool. Um, but yeah, there's so many things that you know. I normally get all my information through deep states of meditation and through
Mhm.
shamanic journeys and stuff like that. Whatnot. But I feel that we just keep using reincarnation. I think it's an overused word. It's an interesting label. But we're infinite. Our spirits are infinite.
Yeah.
So all I see as these past lives is just stories. They're chapters of our conscious experiences that our soul has had experienced through the millennia, through its existence in time, whether as a
Agree.
human or as something else.
Yeah, and I think that, I'm a trauma therapist, so I see things through that lens, but I
Hmm.
think that it's really important to do that trauma work because
Yeah.
that's going to dictate the program. And
Hmm.
if your program is faulty or negative or pain-based, that's what you're going to live.
Yeah. Especially if you had experienced something in World War III or in a past World War or a battle, the Battle of Troy or the Battle of Rome or something like that, and you just, there's been wars around the world since the beginning of time. So we just can't say that can't happen. Now, have you ever had an experience as though you felt you've been somewhere where you could like close your eyes? You're given a scenario and you can close your eyes and you just step into that scenario and almost see, feel, hear as though you're actually there at a
Yes.
particular point in time.
Yes. So it wasn't a past life thing, but one of the places that I go on sacred travel is to Cornwall. I love Cornwall. I would go
Mm,
there every day. Um, and I got a calling from the Stones of West Kennett Long Barrow. And I'm like, okay, so I need to go there. And then I get there. And so I'm standing right beside them. And I said, Grandfathers, why have you called me here? And the answer was to show you that you don't have to be here to be here. And all of a
mm,
sudden, it was just like I could have been there at any time. It was like I was part of the landscape, part of the stones, and there was no separation. And I could feel it, and I can breathe it, and I mean, just every particle in the air, everything was me, and I was it. And I knew, and I've done this since then, that all I needed to do was think about it to be here, and not just like to remember what it was like, but to actually be here, to feel the wind and to feel the ground and all of that. It was like no separation.
Yeah.
And I think we can all do that. I don't think I was special. I think I was just shown.
Hmm. Sometimes it helps to be at a particular place, not necessarily time, but in a particular place, just to kind of get a baseline reading, so to speak. Like,
Yeah.
okay, now I know what it feels like being here, but having to go back over and over and over and over and over again really isn't necessary.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's true of anything. If you have a rock in your hand and you really one with that rock, you can put it down and it's always with you.
Yeah.
So, and I'm talking like more like crystals or something. So it's the energy of a quartz or whatever kind of thing you want. It is still with you, and you can still have the power of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of how what's that, homeopathy works.
Oh, yeah.
It's teeny tiny, this little essence of the thing, and yet it's still enough to heal you.
Hmm. And bringing in the power of the intention, power of an intention, and power of belief too does a lot. If something believed in something so much, I mean, why do you think religion works? It's the power of belief.
Yeah. I think we are creators. And so if we
Yeah.
believe in our creation, then it is true. It is here.
Yep. Yep. So where can people find you? Let me bring up, for those who are watching, they can see your link tree.
Yeah, I think that's the best place. I have a lot of places. It just depends because, like you were saying, I have so many little niches, and you can find all of my links there on Linktree.
Yeah. And the Paranormal PTSD Recovery Podcast. That sounds interesting. If you need a guest, let me know. I could talk about that any day. So yeah, you got a couple podcasts. You got it. It's Not You, It's Me podcast. What's that one about?
That one is more mainstream. It's about trauma and taking responsibility for whatever you got going on in your life and making your life what you want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. You're on YouTube.
Yep.
You got a YouTube channel. Now, what is the Paranormal PTSD Recovery Podcast? People suffering from some events that they may have experienced in the paranormal?
Yeah. So as a trauma therapist, people come with all kinds of stuff. And usually it's like, a year into the relationship and they'll drop the bomb about, oh, this thing happened to me. I'm like, okay, why don't you just lead with that? So people are getting more comfortable with talking about it. I don't really care what the story is because the body tells a story. And if your body is saying something, I already know what's going on, even if I don't have the details. But I think it helps for them to talk about it, for them to be heard, for them to know that it's real and that the impact of what they experienced is real.
Yeah.
So that's what the podcast is about. It's about validating that all kinds of things that are not considered mainstream, normal, those things are real. And the trauma that results from it can be real. Now, there's people who think that they're good things. They're not on my podcast because we're about the negative things, the scary things. And sometimes they're not negative. They're just scary. Yeah. So that's there to deal with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had, when it comes to paranormal cases, it's definitely not this whole sensationalism that Hollywood and TV makes it turn out. I tell you what, it could be quite boring. And there is definitely no sensationalism in any of the investigations I've done in the past, except for one. It's just like, let's do this, okay, let's see what happens. But most of the cases are they're all clients. They reach out, and I'm never looking for cases. Normally the cases are looking for me. And I don't investigate the phenomenon. I'll be honest with you, I don't care what really happens. What are the events that are supposedly happening to somebody? I don't look into that. I look into the clients going, okay. I try to find out what their lifestyle is. What do they do? Where do they live? What type of work do they do? You know, do they work in this type of field or that type of field? You know, what are your weekends like? Do you partake in alcohol, drugs? What is it? What are your hobbies? What's this? And then you go through a whole credibility information type thing that very similar to what the FBI, CIA actually use in forensic work to determine the credibility of the client. Because then usually you can go, yeah, we can move forward. This person is fairly credible. And then you kind of go, okay, what are they experiencing? Is this linked to their work? Is this linked to their beliefs? What are their beliefs? Do they go to church? Do they not go to church? Sometimes they're afraid to tell. You've ever had people afraid to tell you certain things?
Oh, for sure.
Like, you know, they kind of, I'm like, I don't know if I want to tell them that.
Yeah, people are scared.
Yeah.
It's kind of a freaky situation, you know? They're afraid of being judged or,
Yeah.
you know, thinking that they did something wrong.
And I tell them, hey, if you want me to help you, you got to open up the closet.
Yeah, it helps.
Yeah.
It helps to talk about it.
Yeah. And then at the same time, too, it's like, hey, they understand, too, the waiver that I give, you know, some of the legal documentation, too, is none of this information that they end up having to fill out or questionnaires are at all shared with anybody. Yeah. Only the case manager and the client. That's it. None of the investigators even on the investigation even see that. Nobody. The only time any of that information is ever seen by an outside source is if there is suspicion of child abuse, elderly abuse, animal abuse, drug abuse, or any illegal activity. Yeah. And then the case is automatically turned over to local law enforcement.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
And I let them know that. So if they have nothing to hide, great.
Right.
We all have a good day. What has been the most I wouldn't say sensational, but the most interesting outcome with other than your own that you've had either through your clients without giving any information, but as far as like a turnaround, I can't even think of the word right now. I normally say it, or I'm normally able to say it. A breakthrough, like a breakthrough case. Mm-hmm.
I normally don't get to see that part unless it happens right in front of me, you know, because it happens and then people go away and then I don't see them anymore. But I did have a situation with a guy who was on the Paranormal PTSD podcast. And he was a longtime experiencer. So there's a difference between PTSD and chronic PTSD. So PTSD is like, you know, I'm raped, I'm robbed, I'm in a car accident. It's a one-time boom. My nervous system is overwhelmed. With chronic PTSD, there's a long period of different things happening that kind of breaks you down. And this guy was that. You don't expect breakthroughs with something like that because it's just a different type of thing. It's not you don't get over it because it happened once. But he did. And he had so many experiences with the paranormal, and we worked on one. And he didn't even have full recall. He didn't have a lot of details. It wasn't something that he even, so had been talking about the paranormal, follow the body to wherever it goes, trust the body, because everything's not literal. Everything, you don't remember it all. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't even sure. I'm like, did we even get it? You know, and then he comes back later and tells me, he says, my life is so much different after we had that session. He said, I sleep more peacefully now. I'm not as startled. And this guy has done a lot to work on himself. So he's a Qigong master. I don't know if I can't remember if he's an acupuncturist or he did some sort of natural therapy kind of thing. So he was a professional and yet he thought he was pretty chill. And then after we did the work, he was like, I cannot believe the difference. And it
Eh,
was one session, about 20 minutes.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I was not expecting that at all. So you don't
Wow.
even know most of the time. I don't know most of the time what happens with people because I don't get the follow up. But he did circle back and because he said, I wanted you to know.
Huh. That's amazing.
It is amazing. I know.
Wow. Yeah. So explain a little bit about the therapy sessions that you do work with, and people get familiar and what to expect if they try to reach out to you.
Well, it's a little funky. It's not conventional necessarily.
It's not supposed to be. There's no law against it.
It's not talk therapy. We go, we work with the body, we work with symbols, we work with metaphors because I want to get to the truth. Everybody has a story. The story may or may not be true. And if they've done any work on it before, they've probably already told the story before and didn't really get anywhere. So I'm going for, like I said, symbols, metaphors, those kinds of things. And then we kind of shift that. And there's lots of different ways to do that. It depends on the client and what they're open to. But we just tweak. It's kind of like changing the programming in a computer. When you change the program in a computer, the output has to be different.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. We're rewiring it so it still happened. You still remember it, but you don't remember it with the trauma.
Yeah. How many, see, that's the thing is, have you noticed that there's, as far as the percentage of stuff related to things outside of this lifetime's experience compared to what's related to what has happened in this lifetime? Is there a big difference? Is there like a big...
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell because if somebody remembers it as a this time only, and we don't even look at that, could it have been a past life thing or, another dimension thing? The way that I work, because it's with metaphors in the body, it doesn't matter. All time is now. And if you get it in the now, then anything in the past goes with it. Anything in the future goes with it. And I really love that. It's like, get it out of the timeline, get it out of the body, get out of the energy. It's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting too, because I just recently had a like a hypnotherapy thing done a couple weeks ago, within the last week. And it was at that point I realized the power of the now.
Yeah.
Of there is nothing else. The past does not exist.
Yeah.
And the future doesn't exist yet. It's just now.
Yeah.
And it's an infinite now. To where if you can harness the power of the now, it can be sensationally awesome.
Yeah. And I think if for people who have not experienced that and it's just conceptual, I don't know that you can really understand it.
Yeah.
Once you get that, then it's just like, oh yeah, of course, it's super clear.
Yeah.
And you want that and you can utilize that, but when it's just an idea, it's really hard to grasp.
Yeah, it's hard to write it down and kind of talk it out, and there is no layman's terms for it.
Yeah.
It's just you just can't. It's like you have to experience it.
Yeah.
Like meditation. I've talked to many people about how do you meditate? People have never meditated. I'm like, have you prayed? Yeah. It's kind of like that, but you concentrate on your breath. Your breath, your breathing, the sound, everything around you, everything, and you move inward. And they're like, oh. So, now when it comes to death, how you explain in your bio as an animist, I can't even say it, as an animist, correct? Okay. How is death viewed as an animist tradition, or the traditions compared to mainstream Western society? Some people are like, what is the difference between an animist view of death compared to the Western society's view or general view of death?
I think so. There's a lot of different variations in animus, but to put it in a real general way, we just view it as natural. You know, it's like having a birthday. You know, it happens to everybody, and this is going to be part of it. It's part of the cycle of life, and so you participate in it, and it because it's continuity too, and that energy goes with you, and that's part of your now. This dead person is part of your ancestry, if they're families. You want to tend that because whatever is in the family line, that energy is flowing through you. So one of the really, really important things to do is to make sure that that person dies clean, meaning without any baggage. Because if their baggage is going to come back around to your DNA, and nobody wants to deal with that. So if they didn't do it, then you do it for them. That's really important.
And that segues into my next question. How does living clean and dying clean, what's that mean, and how does it help with that connection and fulfillment?
Well, I think the more conscious you are, hopefully you're cleaning up your stuff as you go. You know, that's why we have guilt and shame. It's to alert us that, I'm not in an alignment with my values. I'm not in alignment with my social construct. I'm not in alignment with my spirituality. I'm not in alignment with something. So I need to fix this.
Yeah.
And then when you're clean, then I think your spirit has lots of choices, because when we die, then our thinking goes with us, our brain goes with us, and you're still bound by those constructs. If you're clean, you don't have them. I think that's why I had the near-death experience that I had. I don't have those constructs of, you know, somebody's going to meet me and it's going to be a tunnel. And I didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
There wasn't any like choices of heaven and hell. It was just pure energy. And I think that's why you want to be clean. And then you have, I mean, I did have the choice about, did I want to go back? And I think we do have that choice. But when you die with stuff, then it's like, oh, I didn't do this right. And then I still have to take care of whoever, you know, I still need to live up to my dad. And those things bind you to the reincarnation wheel, and you come back again. I'll do it better this time. I didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, I said, you know, I had the vanity of, I don't want my body felt like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I have some stuff to work on, but it wasn't like, you know, oh, I still have to, I don't know.
Yeah. Unfinished business.
Right.
People always think that too. It's like they always think that if they saw the spirit of the person shortly after death or within the last, not long, they'd be like, well, they must have had unfinished business. You know, they had to find somebody or do something before they truly passed on or passed over.
But I think if you're animist and you have that connection to life and death and to the natural world, and you just accept that this is part of it, it's a lot easier to let go. And also, so I work with people who are dead or dying. So I'm around it more. I live on a farm. Animals are always being born and dying. It helps. You know, we live in such a sterile world where we don't come into contact with death. It's a concept. It's not a reality. Our hands don't get dirty. You know, we give our dead to an undertaker and they deal with it. All we do is we see them looking nice and pretty, say goodbye, and that's it. And that's not how death is. Not at all.
Now that you brought that up, it's like, yeah. And, you know, you wonder why people treat it more taboo today our hands are off all of it. It's kind of like, I mean, I sort of grew up on a farm too, you know, many years ago. And I remember even some of my other family members are like, you know, we used to do everything.
Yeah.
You know, we used to have to slaughter the animals. You have to do this, you have to do that. Now it's like people can't even watch a video of somebody cutting the head off of a chicken.
Yeah.
It grosses everybody out. It's like,
that's where your food comes from, you know?
Exactly. It's like, it would be really, we're up for a really rude awakening, a very rude awakening if something ever happened.
Yeah. Death pays for life.
Yeah.
And when you know that, when you live that, then it's not such a scary thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, this is my turn, and this is what I give to, the soil to return the nutrients so something else can live.
Yeah. That's why I've always regarded and respected the Native American. Even some of the work that I do today is a lot of a Native American spiritualism, and rituals. Even some of my spirit guides are Native American,
Mm-hmm.
and they work through me, and I've always been drawn to that. Is all of the traditional paganistic and Native American or indigenous tribes throughout the world. It's awesome to see how they connect.
Yeah.
Still today, how they connect to spirit and work with spirit. Before we wrap up the show, is what would you like to offer as a takeaway, some words of wisdom for our audience today?
I would love for people to just get more connected with themselves, with nature, with spirit, with something. I think that what we're all yearning for is that connection. When we're born as humans, we're disconnected from source.
Yeah.
And then when we're born as babies, we're disconnected from our mother after living in the womb for 9 months. So all of us have that wound. And I think now we live in this age where everybody's face is in the phone, and kids don't play on the playground anymore. They don't have t-ball outside. It's just worse than ever. And I would just invite people to connect however they connect with whomever they want to connect, and just see how your life changes.
Yeah. Reconnection. That is very, very important. That's a heck of a good takeaway. Walk around barefoot.
Yeah.
Wake up in the morning, take the shoes off, take the sandals off, take the socks off, walk around barefoot in the wet grass.
Yeah.
Ground yourself with the earth. Go camping. Go camping, connect with nature, connect with source. Go swimming in a lake instead of a swimming pool.
Sure.
Go to the beach, connecting with nature. And like you said too, with with the mother and child, I've noticed, I heard something, this was just not too long ago. If the doctor would let the baby go after it was born, you would naturally see the baby crawl up the mother's stomach towards her head and naturally go towards the breath for feeding. Naturally. But
Yeah.
they don't. They immediately separate the child from the mother. Immediately. When they should allow that time. That very critical time with the beating of the heart of the baby and the mother.
And not cut the cord.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we're so unnatural.
I know. It's like, okay, it's like, what happened? Like, what is the tradition? Just let it dry up.
It will. It doesn't take long.
Yeah, it doesn't take long at all. It naturally falls off. Wow, cool. Laura, namaste. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, and welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
Yeah, just stay on the channel before after we're done recording. Just share some quick information, and off we go. But
Okay.
Laura, thank you again. Thank you, everybody, and thank you everybody for watching The Seance on Conscious Radio Network. Until next time, we'll see you next time.